Hey everyone, happy Friday, March 24th. Welcome to the Plant Based Morning Show. It's Friday and we're excited. Seems like roughly the same results as yesterday when we did this little minute-long clip. It really is like somehow YouTube knows that it's not actual content, so they don't send the notification out until you start. Because again, I haven't gotten mine. But Dale Stevens is here. People are trickling in now. Leslie Knight here as well. We haven't had any Twitch people recently, Doug. They haven't at least been an active part of the show.
Well, right. You're right. We gotta really up our Twitch game.
Yeah, we need to start streaming more game content.
There you go.
I could put some of this. I told you the Sunflower Land that I'm into is pretty good.
Matt, it's Friday.
Happy Friday. I haven't played any music. I played the music yesterday. I didn't know if it would be appropriate to do again today, but I'll
double it up.
Yeah, why not? This is what we live for. Remember, I used to be like, we shouldn't live for the weekends. That was my old drum I was beating. And then I eventually just gave up.
Yep. Embraced it. You embraced it. It's Friday, baby. How was your Thirsty Thursday? You do anything fun last night?
No, not at all. I did soccer practice and then I came home. Ate beanball subs. They were pretty good. It made a banger of a sauce, really. A marinara sauce that I do. Okay. And it was sometimes it turns out great. Sometimes it turns out, just okay. It was great last night though. So that was kind of nice. Not too much else. What about you?
I went for a run with a buddy. And then went out to dinner. I was meeting those as time. So I went for a run, took a little creek dip, had to change clothes. Went to the bar, and I had like a half an hour before my friend arrived. I knew I was planning for that, so I did maybe the lamest thing I've ever done in the bar, which was bring my taxes and finish my finish my taxes while I was drinking a beer, waiting on a friend to arrive, and then we had a nice dinner.
Wow, very nice. That is lame to do that, but I get it. I've done that. I actually did that while I was at a futsal practice the other day. I did a bunch of tax work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I got mine done and sent off yesterday, and I'm getting money back for the first time in like a decade, probably. So I'm excited about
congratulations, Matt. That's great.
That's right. I'm dumping it all immediately into Bitcoin as protection against hyperinflation, as you have recommended.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're gonna put this on me when when it goes to zero. Okay. Yep. Got it.
All right, so Mr. Jeffrey said no early notice today. I think that means, I don't even know if the notice has come. I haven't even seen it yet, but I guess people have. Bianca got it before it started. Heard the music. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
And then someone else. What is TAR? TAUR. Do you know? Leslie Knight says TAR seems to be what happened, or tower. It shows as live, but no notification until you started talking.
Trail and ultra running is what it makes me think of, but I don't think that's what she's talking about here.
Yeah, I don't know, but you can clarify it for us, Leslie.
I got a text message about 45 seconds into the music from my brother-in-law asking if the show was going live today. So,
okay,
wow. I know.
Oh, it was a typo, she says. Okay, but she does also say, try this on Monday, go live with our faces, then screen share something pretty for 30, 60 seconds. So we could actually do our own manual kind of screen sharing and then put music on behind it. Bianca says she once brought fresh peas to shell at a bar. I think Texas is lamer. Shelling peas is funnier, though.
That is funny.
Yeah. I mean, I used to bring math homework to bars and do that kind of stuff. That was pretty lame. But, it's okay. Yeah. All right, good. Well, it is Friday. That's fun. There was not very much content at all today that I found, but then I found 2 articles after that were pretty good. So we're good. We're good now. I even reached out to Discord
when you're turning to the Discord saying help, who has something for me to talk about? Yeah, we're in trouble.
But then we got a good question from Lori Stevens and a couple good things. So we've got some good things. Anything else about the weekend, like weekend look ahead that you might give us, Doug? Anything you're doing special?
Ooh, so Katie, shout out to my wife. Katie is doing a really big hike tomorrow with a group of friends, doing circling a ridge line that
Really?
they're probably going to take about 8 hours, maybe more.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm going to be with the kids all day. They're going to go out and do that, and then go out to dinner. So I don't know. Maybe I'll drag them to the bar instead of doing my taxes.
Yeah, there you go. That can
No,
be done. Good
yeah.
look for a politician, local politician, to be seen with children at the bar.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have too much going on, to be honest.
Okay, good. Well,
Soccer? Let me guess.
Well, yes, there's some soccer. You know what I'm going to say about the about an 8-hour rim to rim trail hike on your Saturday, right?
That it's your dream come true, right?
I'm going to say I like it. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Move on. Sounds like a fun time. I mean, I would much rather drive to Raleigh and then back than do that, and that's what I'm doing. Is that so? That's why I live my life, and you live yours. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to Raleigh probably. I assume it'll be me and not Aaron taking my daughter there for one good game in Raleigh, and then stay in a hotel, spend $200, come home, all for probably 30 minutes of playing time that my daughter's actually in. So that's the soccer life. But maybe we'll have fun with the other parents at the bar. Or at the hotel,
I love it.
Hotel
I love it.
bar.
Sounds great.
Yes. Good. Glad you love it. Okay. So that's
yeah.
it.
What's anyone else up to this weekend? If anyone else has fun plans, Mr. Jeffrey says. Let's see. We have our peak week long run tomorrow. All right. Feeling ready for Mendocino. Excellent. Mendocino Coast 50K.
Right. So when is that? That's in soon, right? Must be in April.
I mean, if he's doing peak week, it's probably 2 or 3 weeks away.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, that's fun. That would be fun to see a picture of Mr. Jeffrey and Sid together or something.
Yeah.
Well, that happens on a weekend, right? So it wouldn't be a good show check-in or anything. So April 22nd, he says.
Okay, so a month away.
All right. Suzanne says, you Americans drive so far. In Denmark, a 6-hour drive brings you across the whole country. That's why I think Europe is great. That's why I wish I lived in Europe for some amount of time, because I think being able to just drive across 3 countries on a Saturday would be kind of cool to do. Okay. So, by the way, we should just give people early warning. We're going to take a week off for spring break week. Both of our children's spring break weeks align. Not next week, but the next, which I think starts like April 3rd, maybe is the Monday. So we're not going to try to, have guests and all that. We're going to take an actual real break. I think it's okay for us to do that. Maybe we'll check in with a show or something, but I don't think so. I mean, I plan on not. So anyway, just a warning.
We'll definitely be inside the Discord, though. I will be. I don't know about you.
I don't know. I may. Not quite sure. Just depends what the vacation is like. We haven't decided yet what we're doing. Well, we need to figure something. But anyway, we don't want people to leave and never come back after that. So just the early warning. It'll be 1 week off, and then we'll resume as usual. Okay. So one more thing here, Lori Stevens, whose question we're going to answer in just a second. The CHF dietitian. I don't know what CHF stands for. Do you, Doug?
Nope.
No. So Lori, you should tell us what that means and put your website or whatever if you want people to come to it. I think it's a nice little perk you get for submitting the question of the day. So she says she's going to visit her son in DC and we'll run in Rock Creek Park. We'll eat a lot, I'm sure, and craft beer too. So Doug, you could probably recommend some spots there from 15 years ago that were cool.
Yeah. I could. No, I mean, hit the trails in Rock Creek Park. Get a Rock Creek Park trail map. Just look it up and actually do the trails, because they are so cool, because you're in the city, but you're in the woods, and then you kind of pop out on a busy street or whatever, and you can see a monument or whatever, and then you kind of duck back into the woods, and it's just a fun, unique experience for doing a little trail running if you're into that.
Very good. For those who don't know, Doug used to run a website called rockcreekrunner.com. You still run that site, Doug?
It's live.
Okay. Yeah, so it's still there.
I still pay the server fees.
Right. And Trail Talk, you're not making any more Trail Talks, are you, right now?
No, okay. Not even making more Trail Talks.
But once you can go read all that stuff and listen to all that stuff. Yeah,
there's some good content there. Lots of blood, sweat, and tears went into that website.
In the pre-chat GPT days, when everyone was making their own content, handcrafted content.
That's right.
Good. All right. Well, here's Lori's question, and it's a good one. So I picked it. I'm actually going to put it on the screen and see how that works. If it's written by us, it's pretty long, so we'll see how it fits. Okay, it does sort of. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit, but kind of. Anyway, so here's her question, and I've thought about this a good bit before this actually. Sorry, I just lost it. Here it is. I hate the cold, but I force myself to do outside runs and workouts all winter. Does this count as cold exposure? Do I really have to get in a cold bathtub or, God forbid, a cold stream like Doug? Yeah, I hear you on that. Right, a bathtub is one thing. An actual stream with dirt and you have to touch the ground. That's a God forbid situation. I've tried the cold showers after warmer weather. Hate it, but I'm trying and I survive. But I can't really bear to freeze my ass off on a run or an outdoor boot camp and then torture myself when I get home. Thank you for considering my question. So, first of all, what I'm curious about, Lori. Oh, by the way, CHF is congestive heart failure. So I guess that's her specialty. Did I say congestive? Is that what it is? Is that the right word? I think so.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, my question for you, Lori, is why do you force yourself to go out and do the outside runs and workouts all winter? Is that for the sake of cold exposure and you're wondering if that actually does any good? Or you force yourself to do it just because you want to keep training and there's not really a good alternative? So anyway, I'd like to know that. But here's my bit of background on this, Doug, and then you can chime in.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is cold exposure, but it is not. It's nothing like the getting into a tub, and I think that's a whole, or even cold shower. Not using water, and that's a whole different level. So, and this is gonna be confusing because my example here does involve water, but this cold exposure, like cold stress fat loss idea, which Ray Cronise kind of popularized. I think he did popularize it in Tim Ferriss's book 4 Hour Body, and that sort of, to me, kind of jump started this cold trend. That was based on him his observation that Michael Phelps, swimmer, of course, who trained many hours a day in a pool that was, I don't know how hot the pools are, but 78 degrees maybe, something like that. He did that all day, and he reported what he ate. I think it was on the Today Show or something, the amount of calories that he ate. And Ray, who thought a lot about this stuff, engineer, said these numbers don't add up. He's eating way too many calories for the amount of time he's spending training. So how is it that his body's not just accumulating all this fat? And the reason is because he's doing all those training hours in cold water or in water, which, although 78 degrees or whatever it was doesn't sound all that cold, water is much more efficient of a heat transfer medium than air is. So if you're in a 78 degree air, it feels good and pretty warm. But if you're in 78 degree water, that's 20 degrees lower than your body temperature, and it very rapidly transfers heat away. So it feels like pretty cold water. So I think going out running in the cold is very roughly equivalent to being in a pool like that all day, 78 degrees. It's kind of chilly. Your body's chilly for being in the water. And therefore, during any time that you're out there, it is forced to burn extra calories in order to heat itself and keep its temperature back up to where it is. So I think when you go do that, and if you spend enough time on outside runs, you will get that sort of Michael Phelps benefit of you'll be burning extra fat relative to the amount of time that you're out there. Ray even used to, I remember when I did a book tour talk, this was 2013, I think, a talk in Nashville, and he drove up from Alabama to come to the talk, and this was in like November, and he was texting me and saying, hey, I don't have the heat on or anything. Like, this is what I do. I keep the windows open. I don't have heat. Like, I just expose myself all the time to cold when it's wintertime. I want to feel what you're supposed to feel when it's winter. Clothing and things allowed, but his whole diet philosophy was that winter never really comes in the modern day. We don't have food shortage like we would experience in wintertime. We don't have heat being cold all the time. So he was sort of trying to replicate that. So I think, yes, that's what you're getting here when you go hang outside in the wintertime. But the level of stuff that Doug's doing, where you're getting in 30 degree water or whatever, I guess it wouldn't then it'd be frozen, but 35 something degree water.
Yeah.
That's way different, right? Then you get a shock to your system that does all kinds of different stuff than just being outside in an uncomfortably cold day. So you're getting that one kind of cold exposure, but you're not getting this other, whatever we'd call it, the Wim Hof cold stuff.
Yeah. So I actually have very little to add to that. I was going to say something very similar. I do think that cold exposure, just being outside in the cold, has probably some benefits for energy and kind of mood, and breathing in some cold air into your lungs, and exposing your face to some cold air along with the sunlight and all that stuff. I think that is good, but it is different than getting into the cold water where your blood vessels are constricting and you're sending, you're having your body's forcing itself to to warm your core temperature because you're in this kind of icy cold water. I think that is different, and that is going to give you different benefits than just being out in the cold, unless maybe you're naked in the cold or something like that. But
even then, I don't think you get nearly the benefit, right? Like being outside 35-degree air is so much different than 35-degree water.
Right.
It's just a drastic difference.
Mm-hmm. So I think if you're looking for the somewhat documented, somewhat up in the air benefits of cold water exposure, ice baths and that kind of thing, then you should probably jump in the shower and jump in the bath and stick to the water outside of it. And but I mean, hat off to you for going out all winter and running in the cold, because I think that the mental side of that, the mental gains you get from that, I'm sure there are some physical gains too, and then of course you're just continuing your training, and that's tough. So might not get all the benefits, but I still think it's a great thing to do.
Yes. And Lori responds saying, I feel like it's important to get outside for the immune system and not living my life indoors. So I think that's a response to my question about why do you force yourself to go outside?
Yeah.
And so, lots of benefits to actually going outside especially during wintertime when everybody's kind of stuck inside, or at least they make themselves be stuck inside. You get outside in the sunlight, you get air exposure, all kinds of different, stimuli that you get. And I think it leads to better mental health. Like you said, it's a good thing to do.
Yeah. As Leslie points out, when you said, why would you go outside? She points out, Matt, some of us actually like being outside.
Yeah. Well, she said I forced myself outside. Okay. I was saying, why do you force yourself to do something? But yeah, I mean, that is a difference between me and a lot of people. I generally don't. Okay. So that's that. Again, always go to the Discord. There's a channel for these kinds of questions, and you can put them in. Example right there. Your question could be answered. In fact, it probably will be, because there aren't that many, and we're kind of running out of questions in there. So go in there and put a question if you'd like to be featured on the show and have your question answered. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be an advice question, but it could. It could also just be, how do we meet, or something silly like that. There's a good one in there about what's your ideal food day look like, from Jessica Good Enough, that I will get to. She makes a little Doug jab about Doug's probably looks like tacos in the morning, enchiladas for lunch, and breakfast burrito, enchiladas for lunch, tacos for dinner. So I like that. Oh, and some tortilla chips in between while doing something outdoorsy.
Is that supposed to be a jab? It sounds sounds like a compliment.
Depiction?
Yeah. Sounds like she knows me. She gets me, Matt. She gets me. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into our weather report today. Not a whole lot of news, and then we do have some stuff where Mexican food will be discussed again on the show from one of the articles. But here's the news of the day. If my music goes, here we go. This is food tech startup Zero Egg has announced that it's launching a more egg-like version of its plant-based egg patty. So they're just improving the patty. This isn't that significant, but with all the press that Just Egg is getting, and more Eat Just, the parent company who's doing the cultivated meat, I figured it was worth including here. If that Just Egg liquid is so good, you'd figure that someone can make a patty version of it that would also be pretty good. So maybe Zero Egg will be that. Beginning March 24th, which is today, that patty will be available to U.S. distribution partners. So you may be seeing it show up in places like Starbucks, or those kind of places where you get a prepared breakfast sandwich. Speaking of Starbucks,
Just Egg has a patty.
They have their own patty? Okay. We may have said that before. Anyway, it's good?
They're good, but they're very expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Starbucks, I got some clarification. I was trying to find the Oleato coffee with the olive oil infused. That apparently even next Monday, the 27th, when it's supposed to sort of begin its full rollout, That rollout, as far as I can tell, is like only some Los Angeles and West Coast locations. So it may not ever come to the rest of the country or the world. So we'll have to get a listener to let us know how that is, because I don't think I'm going to be able to sample it very soon. And finally, last bit today, food tech startup Aquacultured Foods announces it will begin consumer tastings of its seafood alternatives in Chicago beginning April 6th. So the public will just be able to go get this vegan seafood. Not as exciting as I thought, though. Their name is Aquacultured Foods. In this case, cultured, I think they probably named their company before cultured became the de facto term for cell-based, lab-grown meat. All they did here is, all they did is take mycoprotein from mushrooms and then ferment that, use fermentation technology with a unique strain of fungi to transform the plant-based ingredients into realistic seafood alternatives. So this is kind of old hat at this point, to be using mushroom protein and precision fermentation to make seafood alternatives. I thought we were talking about lab-grown.
So 2022.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, I am really excited to try this. I still think the plant-based seafood is a great. So far, been pretty good, the ones I've tried, and I think there's a lot of potential for that to keep coming. They do say participants should arrive hungry and prepared to be wowed. So they are confident in these offerings, even if they're not cultured. But that cultured term is interesting because, like, Miyoko's stuff, I think, is called cultured butter. That European butter. So this cultured term, like, has, I guess, people, the big companies, the big players, got together in Singapore, I believe, at some sort of meeting and decided there that cultured would be the name for the market to use about this cell-grown stuff. So anything before that was describing itself as cultured, much less name their company that, Aquacultured Foods, it's sort of misleading now. It's just like, it would be easy for someone who follows the show to look at Miyoko's cultured butter and think that means that that's grown from actual dairy cells.
Right.
When of course it isn't.
Mr. Jeffrey asked where that tasting was. It's in Chicago. Where you can go taste it.
Not that close to Vancouver or wherever Mr. Jeffrey lives. I don't think.
No.
If it were Minnesota, I think all of Canada has easy access to Minnesota, as far as I know. All right, Doug, I forgot to put this in the show plan, but you've added it. You had a promised health tip today, a tempeh health tip, so I'm excited to hear about it. So why don't you take it away for us?
All right, here we go. This is this one came from, there's been a lot of discussion over the last really couple months about tempeh. People don't quite know what to do with it. We've talked about it in many different lists we've discussed, and brought it up in various ways. And people in the comments and on Discord are struggling to know how best to cook tempeh and have it actually taste good. So the tip is really about the cooking, but I thought I would use this as an opportunity to educate some people on tempeh, because that's what we do here, is we educate people.
Yeah.
And so tempeh is a traditional Indonesian food made with soybeans that have been fermented or broken down by microorganisms. Following fermentation, the soybean is pressed into a compact cake commonly consumed by vegetarians, vegans, and Doug Hay. Tempeh is a good source of protein, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, magnesium twice, and calcium. And it's low in carbs and sodium. And this is an interesting little tidbit. A 3-ounce serving of tempeh has 15 grams of protein compared to just 6 grams from tofu.
Interesting. So, and that's why tofu holds much more water than tempeh, I would guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Protein packed.
And then finally, tempeh is a fermented food and contains probiotics, which is good for digestive health and potentially reducing inflammation. So it's a good health food. It's a good protein source for vegans, vegetarians, I would say. You would agree?
I would too. I definitely agree with that. And so, nearly whole food, right? You can see the beans in it still.
Yeah, you can actually see the beans in it. And if you see like some stuff that looks like mold, that's probably there on purpose. That's just kind of how it goes.
Just don't worry about it. Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Just
tempeh can't go bad.
There's no way it can go bad. No, that's not true. But okay, so tempeh. Here's my tip.
All right.
I think myself, and what's very common is for people to just kind of slice tempeh into little strips and pan fry it or bake it or something like that. Maybe marinate it first, and that's
Which
fine.
it turns out pretty good, right? If you actually take the time to pan fry tempeh, it's really not a bad food. It's only bad when you just sort of cut it and steam it and then just eat it. If you do any work at all, it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. But my new favorite thing, this is something that Katie discovered, I think in a cookbook, and then we have just been using it multiple times in different kind of homemade recipes, which is mashed tempeh. So you take the tempeh, you crumble it up with your hands into it's a crumble. You pan fry that for a minute. You kind of cook that in a little bit of oil, and then you take a potato masher or a fork or something like that, and actually start mashing it. Not entirely where it's like, like mashed potatoes, but where there's still some chunky bits in there, but there's other parts that are squashed, and it absorbs the seasoning, it absorbs the sauce just so well. And I'm totally in love with this texture. We have been putting it in burritos, we've been putting it in tacos, on nachos. No, we did have it for burritos the other day, but we also had it in a pasta sauce. And I don't know. I just think it's my new favorite way to eat tempeh. So that's my tip.
I like it. So when you do that mashed tempeh, what food is it is it closest to then? Like that probably an animal product that it's like when you said you put it on nachos, like I think that was a joke, but like, is it more like the ground beef of the nachos or more like a crumbly cheese on top of nachos?
It's more like it's more like ground beef because you're still sauteing, so it it's still hardening up a little bit.
Okay.
So it's a lot like ground beef. Like in a burrito, it tasted a whole lot like ground beef.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Good. I like it. I've never heard of that technique. I've only done the hand crumbling before.
Yeah, and hand crumbling is good, but then take the masher. Do it with the extra step. Give it a shot.
Right. Okay. I will. Next time I make tacos that have pineapple and barbecue sauce on them, I will do that before I put them in the pan.
Great.
Good. All right. Thank you, Doug. Very nice health tip. We need a sound to take us in and out of that. I don't really have one. We've got applause. Probably not exactly the right sound.
Thank you. Speaking
of recipes and things, Matt95 from Discord answered the call yesterday when we said what to do with lentils. He submitted a go-to recipe. Veganhugs.com is the website with lentils and mushrooms in taco form. So 2 superfoods that I think all of us wish we could get a little bit more of, or wish we did get a little more of, in a taco. So I'm gonna give this a try. It has a mango salsa with it. So one of the perks of being in Discord, nomedathlete.com/Discord, if you want to join the fun, is you get recipes like that.
My Sunday brunch is gonna have some lentils in it this week.
Wow. Okay.
Got a plan. I look forward to sharing those pictures.
Very good.
In the Discord.
Very good. And Anne-Marie this second asks in Discord, 3 minutes ago, if anyone has a good tempeh recipe that doesn't add salt. So I don't know. The one I know that I just mentioned, that adds soy sauce and tamari. So that is salt. Anne-Marie has a restrictive diet. I think she's a hardcore, like, forks over knives type eater. No oil, very little salt.
Nice.
Or no salt. Yeah. It's a different path, but good for her.
Yeah.
Okay. So that brings us to our feature articles of the day. We've got 2. I think we can get to them both today. This one's a fun one. It's from Veg News. I love the headline here. The Veg News headline is Veg News announces the 12 best vegan products coming in 2023. So instead of just making it the best 12 vegan products, they add to it that they are announcing it. When what it is they went to the 2023 Natural Products Expo West, and they found 12 products there, and then now they are announcing what they are.
Well, as an authority within the vegetarian vegan space, they can have their best products, right?
For sure. Yeah, I just like the little meta step of, in addition to announcing it, they say that they're announcing it as part of the announcement.
Well, we should do stuff like that.
I guess so. Compliment announces its vitamins of the year. That'd be a little different because it'd be our own product.
Oh yeah, I think we could maybe get a little more creative than that.
Anyway, so here's what they have, and Bianca's already scooped us on a few of these. So Bianca, I don't think Bianca went to Expo West. She just gets the stuff sent to her house, or she finds it in Whole Foods. But she's already got a couple of these that are on this list, so we'll get to those in a second. All right, number 1, AI-powered vegan cheese. It's from deep tech startup Climax Foods, headed up by former SpaceX scientist Oliver Zahn, PhD. They're making 4 creamy vegan cheeses, brie and blue cheeses, which were ready for sampling at Expo West. The creamy textures, flavors, tangy, deeply rich, blew their editors away. So that's pretty exciting to me. As sick as I am of hearing about AI stuff, I really like when I talked about the handcrafted content earlier today. I feel like already it just feels like that's better, like because the robot didn't touch it and generate it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder if this would be a groundswell of backlash against AI as the whole.
I think it's going to happen for sure. Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah,
people are going to be craving the real.
They are. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to balance that with all the potential for it to actually really replace a lot of human workers.
Yeah.
So
anyway, back to this cheese. That brie looks fantastic, and I would totally go for a vegan brie.
Yeah, it does. I'm most excited about the blue cheese, but the brie too. And brie has a little funk to it, just not as extreme as blue cheese. So if they can replicate that with vegan cheese, I'm going to be very excited. I don't know why you need AI to do that. Like, it just seems like it's not, AI does stuff on the fly, and I think that's one of the big potentials.
Gimmicky. It's gimmicky,
right? It very much might be. It might have been something they did to kind of get more funding or something. But still, using technology for sure to mimic molecular structure or whatever, that's totally legit to me. But I don't understand why you need AI for it.
Man, I used to go to town on brie and tomato sandwiches.
Oh yeah,
toasted brie and tomato
Never
sandwiches.
heard of that.
Little pepper, a little salt.
Oh.
Woo! Yeah,
that's a pretty minimal, pure flavors, Doug. You didn't feel the need to put like a bunch of hot sauce and other spreads and pile it high or anything.
You know, my palate wasn't as refined back then. So.
Okay, good. All right, number 2, Wonder Eggs hard-boiled vegan eggs. Bianca has featured this already. You didn't have to go to Expo West. Well, I guess if you wanted to taste it, you did. But if you're a fan of the show, you already heard Bianca present these on camera. So you saw them, which she got, I think, from Whole Foods, maybe from Sprouts. Anyway, Texas-based, woman-owned, plant-based brand Crafty Counter has cracked the code on vegan hard-boiled eggs. They're made from cashews, some other stuff. I think Bianca said, I forget what she said. She really liked them. I forget what the criticism was about them. They come with a little salt packet, or I think it's black salt that adds that sulfur sort of taste. So that's kind of interesting. A little clunky though, from a design point of view. But anyway, that's that one. 3, Dandy's marshmallow cream Dandy's is the vegan mushroom, the vegan marshmallow company. So whenever we go camping, we pick up Dandy's in order to do s'mores. And they're not that cheap, but now they're making cream of it, which, marshmallow fluff or whatever is a thing people get into. I don't really know why or what they do with it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Never been into marshmallow cream or fluff.
No, I didn't either. I think we used to put it in hot chocolate as kids, but it wasn't like better than regular marshmallow. So I don't really know what the big deal is.
I mean, I like the regular marshmallow because then you have that like little hard thing you could chew on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm also
hard pass on this one.
Yep, we agree on that. All right, number 4, Elmhurst oat and cashew vanilla lavender milk. I guess, okay, so the Gen Zers on TikTok do dairy-free lavender lattes, so I guess this would just make it really easy to do without having to make it yourself. And this is just 6 simple ingredients, no added gums or oil, so that's kind of cool. I think it was a tamarind latte the other day that I talked about. I need to go get another one of those. That was delicious. I'm not really usually into these flavored things added to coffees, but who knows? Number 5, Jinka calamari. This comes in little bags. They also make crab poppers that are plant-based, made from Jinka. I tried to figure out what Jinka makes its stuff from. I couldn't really find it, but it's tempura fried, fish-free calamari bites. As I've said on the show, I've had a vegan calamari in Spain once, and it was really good. It was made from cognac. I don't know how you say it. CONJAC, I think. It's like a root at starch, and it was really, really good. Texture was perfect. So that's kind of cool. I'm always pushing vegan seafood, so glad to see it here. More seafood is number 6, Conscious Foods vegan seafood line. It's a new sushi line. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm trying to get at Whole Foods, the vegan sushi. I don't think it's made by Conscious Foods, but I would love to know if anyone has gotten their hands on some vegan sushi, because I'd be really interested to know how vegan products are at mimicking raw fish. Lovo Swiss milk chocolate. I don't know. I mean, is that really that exciting? I don't know.
I'm guessing it's like kind of like a milk chocolate, like a creamy.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get that. You can get that with oat milk chocolate. They make
Yeah.
that. I don't know if it's like specially done dairy or it is, animal free whey type equivalent stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
Number
it's
8.
almond milk. So I don't think so.
Okay, then yeah, I don't know what the big deal is, but it must have been good. Number 8, meaty whole cut steak and chicken. This is Mycelium Company, Meaty Foods. This I still have not tried any mycelium, which means mushroom protein based plant meats, but people seem to love the meaty foods. This MEATI. So I would love to try this. It seemed like it was kind of ready to sort of sweep the nation, but I don't think it has yet. You can get
But yeah,
them for
do you know if you
national.
can get it anywhere? Can you get
It
it?
says when they launched their whole cuts in 2022 for national delivery through their website, they sold out in mere hours. But I know this is in restaurants. I don't know if it's in any chains or anything like that. I don't think it is. But yeah, it's here. I mean, it's close. So I will be eager to try this one. I still am holding out hope that mycelium. I don't know what is going to convince me. I guess I could probably do the research now, but like I'm just so recently turned off by these textured proteins and the high, ultra processed food idea that I'm just hoping somehow this is going to seem more like whole food and actually be much closer to mushroom than
Yeah.
textured protein. And like I said, I probably could figure that out now, but I feel like I just need the product to be out. Then I'll know, form an opinion.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. Melody Foods plant-based honey. Melibio, Melibio. They've launched their world's first plant-based honey. And they say they capture the same flavor as bee honey without the bees, using the same botanicals that are used to create honey from bees. So they basically are being the
They're
bee,
being
I guess,
the
right?
bee. Yeah.
Right. So they have a processing situation that is basically put in the same stuff that the bee takes in, out comes hopefully the same stuff, just without animals. So I'd be excited about that.
Yeah, I would be
I
too.
miss honey.
I would definitely be interested in this.
Yeah, and pure like honey. Honey is really good. Way better than these agaves or whatever else. So I'll be excited if this comes out.
Agave. Yuck.
I mean, really, I don't like it. I wonder if it will because honey has all these supposed health benefits, right? Like immune things because the bees, I guess, gather it from all around, so it helps you with allergies and all that other stuff. I wonder if probably not the same impact here, and because you probably only get that from local honey, I would imagine, since it's in your area, your allergens and all that.
Right.
Anyway, and here's another one that Bianca got: Mighty Yum Vegan Lunchables. We already talked about this for the past couple of days, so we don't need to spend much time on it, but Bianca has gotten it, and I think she gave us a little review. She said that the ham was made from wheat gluten, and she said I think she liked the pizza one the best. So that's cool. Number 11, Omni Foods Bao Buns. We've seen Omni; they're in Walmart with their plant-based meats. These are Bao Buns. That seems pretty good. The picture, little
they look good.
bready buns. It does say pork style strips on there, and the picture doesn't look at all like strips. It looks like it's like a puree sort of thing. Yeah. So I don't know what exactly that is about. But they got a couple flavors, so that seems kind of cool. And finally, Pockets Chocolates, oat milk, chocolate almonds. Don't know what there's to say about this. So I appreciate this list from Veg News. This isn't really that exciting though. I mean, like the cheese is cool.
Yep.
I do want the mushroom meat to come, but that's kind of already feel like it's been out. We just haven't gotten it yet. Same with vegan seafood. Like it's exciting, but it's sort of been out. Just we don't have it. So I don't. This is kind of disappointing to me. This 2 chocolates that are just milk chocolate. No explanation of why they're any better than what's already out there. I don't know. I'm not. It makes me wonder about the whole food industry. Honestly, where are we headed?
Are you just giving up? You're giving up on the whole thing? I mean,
it makes me wonder. I said, I'm just wondering what we do. How do we keep attention?
Well, I mean, we got to get better at what we're doing already, right? And I think that the meat strips are probably putting us in that direction. The cheese, the AI-powered cheese is probably putting us in that direction. I think that the seafood, right? I mean, seafood. This is none of it's stuff that's all that new or exciting because we've been talking about really all of these, for the last, since the beginning of the show. So, I think that's why it doesn't feel all that good. But if some of these were better than what's available now, I'm all for that. Honestly, the one that I'm most excited about is the honey.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool.
Yeah.
That and the marshmallow cream.
Yeah, right. That marshmallow cream. Can't wait to get that. Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm only half kidding, saying this isn't that exciting. And what's next? We're spoiled, I guess, right? We're not a lot excited by vegan hard boiled eggs, cheese. It looks just like vegan cheese, or it looks like real cheese. I mean, these whole cut meats from mushroom protein. It is really exciting. Should be, but we've already talked about it a lot. So it's like, what if this isn't that interesting now? 'Cause it's already sort of out there or been done. Like, what is going to be interesting? Maybe have we arrived at this point where everything is just, we just need incremental improvements on what is there, because there aren't remaining products that we don't have. Like, you can only get plant-based, any kind of meat you want. I guess that's just what it is. Or, as we've heard some people say, there's this opportunity to like use technology to make foods that aren't food yet, right? Like whole new classes of things that we don't know would taste good. It's hard to imagine that would be really healthy, but perhaps carefully done, could be. So I don't know. Maybe that's what's next. This whole new things that you can't make from animal products, or wouldn't make from animal products, but you can now start to come up with new foams and things and all that other stuff.
We shall see. Maybe at the 2024 list,
maybe
presented by Veg News. Maybe there'll be something we don't even know about.
Maybe.
All right, let's move quickly through this.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about all this because most of it doesn't apply to us. It's from Eat This, Not That. It's called 17 Restaurant Orders You Should Always Avoid According to Chefs. And we make fun a lot of Eat This, Not That and Best Life Online. I actually think these are pretty good tips by these chefs for the most part.
Yeah, of course you would, because you agree with half of them, and I'm going to disagree with half of them.
They're all like by food. They're food experts, and
I'm pretty sure that Megan Cameron is your pin name or whatever. You wrote this article.
Yeah, it's food purists, and they're talking about food being enjoyed the way it should be and what not to go do. Number one is very interesting, so we will spend a little time on this. They say never get a veggie burger at a burger joint. That is the number one thing not to do at a restaurant. I don't like this one too much, obviously, for obvious reasons. They say like the biggest faux pas is don't get, like, if a restaurant has a signature offering, you get that signature offering. So never at the burger restaurant that's not a vegan or vegetarian burger shop, never is the veggie burger going to be the signature offering. But I kind of feel like at a burger place, like if they have 8 hamburgers and 1 veggie burger and they are trying to be a burger place, they're going to do a pretty good job with that veggie burger. Right? Because like it's feel like that'd be part of their craft. Like they need to try to make a really good veggie burger. And if it weren't good, they probably wouldn't serve it on their menu. So I don't know if I agree with this first one. I also don't like the way they present this here. They say you wouldn't go to Italy and get a Mexican dish. So unless you're a vegetarian or vegan and you don't have a choice, don't go to a burger joint and order a veggie burger. It's not that we don't have a choice. I hate when people say you can't eat that, right? Because it's like, no, I'm just deciding that, like, I just have this standard that says I don't eat that kind of stuff, but I do always have a choice, and I just choose not to eat the crap you're eating.
Yeah, and I also don't like the Mexican restaurant in Italy because, I mean, who would come to America and get an Italian food, right? I mean, but there's some really good Italian food here.
There's nothing flat to it, though. It's a little different.
Yeah, well,
there's not good American food.
But I'm with you on the burger joint. I mean, I can see, like, you wouldn't go to I wouldn't recommend going to like a pizza joint and getting a burger, right? You know that is kind of
a disaster,
an add-on for kids or whatever who don't eat pizza for whatever reason. But but you go to a burger joint, they're going to know how to make a good burger, make a good sandwich, right? And whether it's a meat burger or a veggie burger, in theory, they should be able to do it well.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So I'm curious what people would say about this one. Before we move on, has anyone chimed in? I always lose the tab.
Mr. Jeffrey says that unless they sell it frequently, they won't put a lot of work into it. Mr. Jeffrey salivating at this one. He says let's see if he agrees with it as a according to chefs. He's a chef.
Yeah, right. He would say I'd say that 9 out of 10 times the veggie burger would be an afterthought. So I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Okay, so he agrees.
He does agree with them, and I really just can't go against him. I think his experience, and he's a vegan. He trumps our opinion in this case. So I guess I believe you. Number 2, an over-the-top burger. Don't get an over-the-top burger. Which to me means one of those giant burgers. It's a huge mess. You can't really eat it. You can't even take a bite like to get all the ingredients in your mouth at once because it's just too large, too tall. So I'm totally with this. Giant mess. I hate paying for a huge mess of an eating experience. John?
I firmly disagree with this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's why. If a restaurant have an over-the-top sandwich, it's probably going to be like their signature burger, right? And they will have put, this goes against number 1, which is kind of like the one that they want to put effort into, that they want people to buy, they want to kind of hype up, right? That's going to be their over-the-top burger. They're going to have put a lot of effort into that one. And you got to just treat it differently than like a Big Mac, right? Where you can hold it and not get messy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different experience. You might have to pull out a fork. You might have to have a couple napkins. You might have to wipe your beard off. It's just the way it is. And I think I think if a restaurant really wants to do that, then that's fine. I mean, then I'm here for it. I will agree with one item there. Gold in a burger? No. I agree with that. Gold, the whole like gold craze is so dumb to me.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that, but I do know a little bit about it. Yeah, that's silly. Really though, like that actually is a good example, the gold on a burger thing. Like when you order that, you're not ordering that because you think gold is delicious. You're ordering it because you want to sort of just be seen as the guy or have this story or whatever. I feel like to an extent, that's what ordering the extra large burger is. You're like trying to be the funny guy at the table who has this huge giant order when everyone else's order is just a regular thing. And you have the huge burger that comes out all giant and you get your picture on the wall if you eat 7 of them or whatever. It's just stupid.
Well, see, that's different, right? I mean, like a food contest, like yeah, I mean, of course, like that's a little different than ordering the burger that they have pictured here, which has like some sort of slaw, looks like a little bit of.
I don't think so. I think you're eating a meme basically if you order that burger and eat it at a restaurant. You're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it because it's like, okay, I got this thing that has 2 different meats on top of the burger and another slaw, and it's way too like you're just doing it because it's like a thing. It's like the fact that you did it is the thing.
Agree to disagree, man.
Okay. All right, moving quickly here. Number 3, farmed fish. They say it's pretty disgusting, the stuff that goes. This is not a vegan site or anything. They're just, of course not. But they're saying you wouldn't want to get this. It's full of chemicals and all kinds of stuff. The way it's crowded, so I can appreciate that. Number 4, well done steak. I guess that's just a non-foodie thing to do. This is kind of a bad recommendation. I mean, all meat stuff aside, obviously, I'm not seriously considering this, but I just feel like some people like well done meat, and so like if you consider yourself a steak eater and you like well done flavors, like I don't know, like if you don't want the rare thing, it seems like a weird faux pas. I guess it is a faux pas to go to.
Matt. Well, okay, 2 things. One, I think we don't need to talk about meat, but no. I think that when you're overcooking a meat, like you're kind of killing it. Same with a vegetable, right? Like if you over saute a vegetable or steam a vegetable, then it's just not as good as if it was cooked perfectly. And I think that maybe that's one thing. But if you like it, then get it. And that's the problem with this entire list is it's telling you what not to get. Yeah. But if you like it, if you like the big sandwiches, get it,
Right. They're kind of telling you how to have good taste when it comes to your dining experience, right? And chefs can do that, but in the end, it's sort of like eye of the beholder. And yeah, but I do think this is often a fundamental difference between us, Doug. I think things are meant to be had a certain way and appreciated a certain way, but we just have different tastes. So I can't tell you what to like. All right, this one though, this will be hit home for you. Tex-Mex dishes at a Mexican restaurant. Okay, so let's just assume we're talking vegan here. Yep. They're saying, not saying that a chimichanga tastes bad, for example, but that will not be found on an authentic Mexican restaurant. Same with fajitas. The worst thing to order would be fajitas, says this guy, the regional chef at Bodega Taqueria y Tequila. That's as American as apple pie, he says.
So I agree with this one. I think if you're going to go to a Mexican restaurant, unless they're just kind of cranking out hundreds of dishes and don't really care. But if they have authentic foods and meals, then you should get those because they're you're going for the experience of the Mexican restaurant. So I agree with this one. I think my favorite. So the problem is often get fajitas because that's like the best vegan option, right? Because everything else is smothered in cheese.
Right.
And so I get
Makes sense.
the American apple pie at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
But before, I mean, I would often just get the tacos, and they would be delicious, and they would be much closer to what tacos have had in Mexico than some of the stuff that the others get. The number 9.
All right, I agree. So when you get to a Mexican restaurant, when you get right in your element, that's when you become a food purist. Then that's when you say this is authentic or nothing.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you just eat anything, as long as it's vegan.
Yeah, that's pretty much right.
All right, queso that doesn't come in a skillet. Is this interesting to you, or should we just move past this one? I've never ordered queso in a restaurant in my life.
No,
Okay.
Don't care.
Spicy dishes at a sushi restaurant. This is sort of the same variation on the same theme, right? Like, don't get stuff that makes it over the top and takes away from. I'm sure it's supposed to be about the way the fish tastes, and if you put spicy, it masks it. So okay,
Yep.
I guess I understand that. Chinese dishes at a Thai restaurant.
This is the burger at the pizza restaurant example here. That
makes sense. How do you know? Like, I don't really. Would it be labeled like this is a Chinese dish?
You just see some things like egg rolls or different types of chicken that you would typically associate with a Chinese restaurant is available at the Thai restaurant, just because I think that they used to do that because people were so much more familiar with Chinese food and so much more comfortable with it.
Okay, fair enough.
But now,
carbonara made with cream. I think this fits a lot of American Italian food stereotypes. Like, this is a good example, right? Where they just something gets Americanized. It's not meant to have cream in it, but that was an easy ingredient, easier than Parmesan Reggiano and egg. So they do that. I think that happens a lot. So I kind of get that. If you're trying to go to an Italian restaurant to get real authentic food, then you don't want the American stuff, including like spaghetti with meatballs. I think that's an American thing. But like you said, if you like it, you like it.
See, here's the question. Here's my question. American Chinese food, American Italian food, American Mexican food, right? Like, it's kind of its own category, right? The spaghetti and meatball thing, the creamy carbonara. I mean, the Tex-Mex, I mean, like, it's kind of its own category. And so, like, restaurants are just good at that. Like, they're going to have a really good spaghetti, that isn't necessarily authentic, but will be very delicious.
That's a good point. All these chefs are, they're thinking about food the way that I think I tend to think about it. I'm really not saying it's right, because I think you're making a great point. They're kind of saying, if you're going to eat Italian food, you want it to be authentic as possible, but maybe you don't. Maybe you want American Italian food because that's what you grew up eating in the United States.
It's just kind of changed and developed, right? I mean, it gotten passed down for generations. You've immigrated over here. You've introduced new flavors that they might not be common in Italy, and it can be its own thing, and it can be celebrated as its own thing.
Yep. Maybe it just shouldn't pose as authentic. Maybe you should just know the difference. Have the taste to know the difference.
Aren't you the guy who was at Olive Garden a couple weeks ago?
I was. Again, vegan changes everything, as you pointed out, right? Then all bets are off. You get what you can, and that's what we got. It was pretty good though. Vegan Olive Garden is not bad. All right, store-bought mozzarella sticks. I guess that almost nobody really makes them. We talked about vegan mozzarella sticks the other day. Someone's making them. That kind of makes sense. You can go get them yourself. There's a lot of foods that you could go get yourself that you order at restaurants and whatever. You just do it. I like this number 11. Anything with too much garlic at an Italian restaurant. So it's kind of stupid, because how do you know it has too much garlic until you order it? You wouldn't really know if it was too much. But they say when you go to a supposedly, this is so snobby, when you go to a supposedly Italian restaurant and smell it, the garlic, just run away. This is the first sign you're eating fake Italian food, says Chef Barbara Polastrini, a Rome native. So authentic Italian spots smell like fresh tomato sauce or simmering broth, she says. So I like that tip. That's kind of a nice thing, right? Like, I do think now and then I will find an Italian place, might find a vegan item or two on the menu, and you almost always can get a vegan item at an Italian place. Not always. Sometimes their sauces have pork based or whatever. You just can't even get a red sauce, but often you can. And sometimes it's just really bad, and sometimes it's not. And I think this is a pretty good tip. Maybe that when you smell all that garlic, you're just sort of it's a tip off that they're just kind of overdoing it with all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that tip. It reminds me actually of the remember the 3.5-star Chinese restaurant tip that the guy shared on TikTok. You remember that one?
I know.
It was like a little viral thing. It happened last year, and he basically said 3.5 stars is your sweet spot for Chinese food. And I think this guy was Chinese. He said because, and I think the quote was, too much higher than that, and it means a lot of, like, you go to Yelp and you look at their reviews. If they're getting 4+ stars, he said too many white people like it, and it's just sort of for Americans. And he said if it's 3.5, that means they probably had really bad service, and that's often usually why they get down. He said that's how you know, because there's not this value on the service in the Chinese culture that there would be in American culture. So you don't want it to have good service. That would be a tip off that it's not a good place. So 3.5 stars apparently is the sweet spot for the very best, most authentic Chinese food.
Interesting.
So now we got a tip for that and a tip for Italian food.
There you go.
All right. Any more worth talking about, or should we just be done? Barbecue slathered in salt, the cravables. I don't know what that means. Sides at a barbecue joint.
So the cravables is kind of interesting. I thought you'd want to call this one out too. It's the overstuffed nachos and
yeah, terrible.
And fries with a bunch of stuff over top of it. And the quote here is, avoid these at all costs. The way that you'll feel afterwards is not worth the 8-second ride.
Yeah.
And I kind of gotta agree with that. I love a good nacho. I love a good tater tot.
Right. I was going to mention tater tots by themselves to me fit in this category. That's where I don't fit afterwards.
I mean, so there's just times you do that and you're okay with it. Maybe you went for a long run and you just want to stuff yourself with some tater tots, and you understand that you're gonna get a little drowsy and not feel great for the next couple hours, and that's just part of the experience. I'm okay with that, but I'm not running to Applebee's to get some skillet nachos. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, I've had this feeling before when I make like buffalo cauliflower, or when I get the field roast corn dog things that I think they're not buffalo, but there's also a field roast buffalo thing. You get those and you just know that you're going to eat it really fast and then you're going to feel terrible. But
yeah,
whatever you do. Sides at a barbecue joint. This is kind of interesting. We talked a little bit about, I think, Luella's Barbecue specifically, who makes a good tempeh barbecue. I always do with the bean sides there. And whatever they have that is vegan, which isn't always that much, but sometimes they do have vegan ones. They're just saying.
I mean, the whole thing is you want to stick to the authentic stuff, or the stuff that they're known for, right? This is the same as the veggie burger at the burger. They're saying a barbecue joints get specialized in burgers, not sides. Barbecue, not sides. Yep. Whatever. Right. Like if it's a good barbecue restaurant, then they're going to have a couple good sides too. So,
yeah. All right, so we've just about made it. So I'm gonna read the last three. Steak at an Indian restaurant, right? Makes logical sense because they don't eat cows in India. Cows are sacred in Hinduism, so that's a good logical one. 16, General Tso's chicken, and you can get General Tso's tofu or General at the Chinese place we go to, with it's all vegan. You can get a General Tso's whatever it is they're using.
Tofu curd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like I think it's seitan. I don't really know, but I never like it. It's just way too sweet. And the reason they say don't get it is what? It's covered in syrupy sauce that is not authentic. Yeah. Another good example, though, like you said, it's an American thing. And finally, seafood at a Chinese restaurant with a long menu. I would think seafood at any restaurant with a long menu that's not primarily seafood is a bad bet, right? It just makes sense. It doesn't have to be Chinese. But maybe this happens most
I'd say most restaurants with long menu is a bad bet.
Just any long menu restaurant.
Yeah, any long menu restaurant means that they're not that much is very fresh.
Right. Yeah, the turnover is not what it needs to be.
Go ahead.
I have this when you think about ordering wine by the glass, I have often this same thought process. I look at the menu, I think what kind of food are people eating here, and then what is the wine that they're not. And usually I like the Spanish and Italian wines, and those a lot of times in this situation, like, I don't know, let's say you go to, the Olive Garden's a little different, but anyway, a lot of times I think they don't really move that much of the Spanish and Italian wines compared to like the Cabernet and whatever California ones. So I've had a lot of bad glasses of wine where they're just like, you can tell it's been open for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think that's right. So we are over an hour already, so we should wrap. But I'm gonna close with Mr. Jeffrey's recommendation, which I think is a good one. For me, the only rule is unless you have allergies or dietary restrictions, order from the menu, even with modifications. I think that's probably good. That's probably what the staff is going to be most excited about cooking.
What do you mean from the menu? Of course. What else are you can do? Ask for off menu stuff?
Yeah, or like make something up.
Like a vegan thing? Like make a vegan thing that's not on the menu? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or if you can't do that, ask the chef to get creative, which I don't know what the other option would be, but but stick to the menu. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, a lot of comments. I wish we had time to go read all these. Because I don't. But I mean, we don't. The show doesn't. Right? But I'm gonna read these. I'm gonna stick around and read these afterward. Anyway, okay.
They're all just agreeing with me, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, I like that article. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, but it is a little bit snobby, and you're kind of right in some ways, right? Get the thing you want. We don't need an article. I think you have bad taste if you don't agree with that article in many ways. I also think, who cares if you have bad taste, right? Everyone has their own taste. Mine's better, but like you're still free to go order what you want. I don't need an article telling you what to eat.
I mean, to me, it all just comes back to like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for an authentic Italian experience or an authentic Mexican experience of what you would actually get in Mexico?
Yes, you should be. That's why you go out to eat at an Italian restaurant. And if you disagree, then you're wrong, and you're not you don't have good taste.
So, what if it's labeled Italian American restaurant? Would that be?
That'd be different, entirely different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Fair enough.
Good. Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks everyone for staying with us for this extra long show. Yeah, not much else to say. I'd like to hear more of this stuff in Discord. So this is an interesting conversation to me. So whatever.
Yeah.
Samples or whatever. Bring them over there. I will pop in and out there throughout the weekend, assuming I remember to, which I usually do. Yeah. Otherwise, we will be back on Monday, and I hope everyone enjoys their weekend.
Happy Friday, everybody. nomeanathlete.com/Discord to join the Discord, and we will see you on Monday.
All right. Sounds good. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.